Good morning, everybody. This is Debra Fox, founder of the Moxie Women's Network, and I am delighted to be with you today. I am excited because the Moxie Women's Network is growing and we're adding some new things to our offerings and services that we want to offer for you and things that we want to share. And in that light, we've had a new person join our contributor team, and I am delighted today to introduce you to her. This is Sarah Kelsey with Rhinestone Lipgloss. Hey, Miss Sarah.
Hi, Debra. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm good. Life is good.
Life is so good, man. It's so true. I always kind of share with people, and some people are kind of new to the Moxie Women's Network, and this might be the first video that they've ever seen from the Moxie Women's Network, because most of the people who know you through my sideline kind of thing. And for those of you who don't know, I coach rodeo queens, and I know that's just straight out of left field, right? But I have this page called Queens and Jeans, and we work together on some of the back end stuff. But this particular thing, Moxie Women's Network, is for corporate women and college women and non-college women and women who just want to grow and get better and learn and follow their dreams. And it has nothing to do with pageantry or anything. It has to do with women. And so when I started this concept, the Moxie Women's Network, it was because of my book, Finding Your Moxie, back in the back behind me, Finding Your Moxie, Myths and Lies Successful Women Kicked to the Curb. And just to sort of set up this call, I mean, the premise of the book was that there were myths and lies and half-truths that, we're told as women that don't really translate into business or starting your own business or trying to advance in our careers. And sometimes it takes us many, many years through our careers to figure that out. And so I kind of wanted to write that book. And one of the things that I talk about in there is, one of the chapters is college and knowledge are not the same thing. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But I want you just real quickly to tell our audience just what is Rhinestone Lip Gloss and what do you do?
So Rhinestone Lipgloss is the name of my company, and we hand make Swarovski jewelry for everyone from rodeo queens to pageant queens to brides to prom. We have some smaller earrings that, I've got a couple clients that are corporate attorneys and they wear them in the courtroom. So we have earrings for everybody from corporate, to the corporate driven women to not, one of our most popular clients are stay-at-home moms.
Right.
They're so busy running kids from here to there, wherever, and they want to put something basic on that makes them feel a little bit better. Not something completely over the top, because we have those too. Right. But something smaller. And so basically, we add Swarovski stones to anything you can think of, and jewelry is our main. It's kind of our main line. That's what we do. So.
Exactly. And, that it's great. And I'm so glad that you took a minute to share with people what you do. That's not why we're doing the call today. What we want to talk about today is the fact that, as I started to say in my book, I talk about how, there are people, in fact, my research determined that in the year ending 2013, that basically 70% of the U.S. population did not have a formal degree. And by the end of 2014, it was about 68% that did not have a formal degree. And I found that quite interesting when I was writing my book. And the topic here is not you shouldn't get a degree, but the question is, what do you do, A, if you don't have a degree and you want to be successful, or B, you do have a degree and it's not working? And I think that you and I really represent both ends of that spectrum. And I'm the person that doesn't have a formal degree for whatever reason, and life got in the way, and I write about it in the book, but had to figure out how to become successful anyway. And if I do say so myself, I've been very blessed. I'm an international corporate trainer and speaker, motivational speaker. I am a best-selling author. And, that's saying a lot for someone who is surviving in a world where college is so highly touted. You, on the other hand, went to college, got the degree, and I just think it would be great for you to share with everyone, like, what happened.
So I have a degree from The Ohio State University, and it is in Mandarin Chinese. So, yeah. So I was a corporate translator. That's what I did. And it was a very rare degree. To put it in perspective, so Ohio State had 50,000 students. 13 of us graduated with a degree in Chinese. So, I mean, we were a pretty small group.
Right.
And, so I go to school and I do the college thing and I graduate on the dean's list and I have this, awesome, nice, shiny degree. And I had some family health issues. So I moved home and all of a sudden I can't find a job. And I'm kind of starting to panic because I'm in student loan debt up to my eyeballs. And I ended up dispatching garbage trucks for $10 an hour. I have this magical piece of paper that everybody said, go to college and so I picked something that was unique and that I could in a niche market, right? So I have this what's supposed to be a golden ticket, and it sure as heck is not. And that was kind of hard for me to swallow. And I want to note that when I say, I dispatched garbage trucks, it isn't in a derogatory sense at all, because I learned probably some of the best time management skills. Because if something's off by a few minutes, your whole day is wrecked. So I learned a ton doing that. But, what people had told me and what real life was showing me were two very different things. And so I worked there for a while. And then in early 2013, I found a job in the tool and die industry near my home where I could use my degree finally. And that was, I remember thinking, okay, I made it. I'm adulting. I have a good job. I have benefits. I have a retirement. I'm using the degree I went to school for. And I loved my job. I did. And it was awesome. Well, in October of 2014, I was competing at the All-American Quarter Horse Congress. I was a barrel racer. And my now husband was working in California, and he was flying back in, and I was killing time till his flight got in. So I just totally screwing around, made a pair of earrings in my hotel room. And long story short, by February of 2015, so 6 months later, Rhinestone Lipgloss had made it very clear that there's a demand for this. And my husband had said, he's like, we got to make a decision. He said, you can't keep going to work because China's 12 hours ahead of us. So part of my day was literally in the middle of the night, and, going to work and keeping horses rode and doing, the Rhinestone Lipgloss thing. He's like, this is insanity. And I'm like, you want me to leave the job I could not find to glue rhinestones on things? That's what you're saying to me. And he's like, well, you can't keep doing both. And I had wanted to travel with him. My husband travels a lot for work. And I thought, you know what, this is insane. But I knew that if I didn't take that leap right then, that I would never have the opportunity to do it. So, and it's important to note that I didn't just go to work the next day and say I was leaving. But you take a month or two and you run the numbers and you make sure that, okay, if I step off of the safety, the safety platform I'm on, is the net strong enough to hold me? And after about 2 months, I was like, okay, we can do this. And I cried the day I packed my office up because I loved what I did, but this was something that I needed to do. And I knew that if it didn't work, I could always go back, I could find another big girl job essentially. And that was in early 2015. And now we have work in 12 countries. I run my whole company off of Facebook and Instagram, and it's been insane. And now that degree that everybody told me I needed, and I was in college for like something stupid, like 6.5 years. Like I could have almost probably have been a doctor. Now it just, like, I dust it, Now that's not to say that I regret going to college or anything like that, because everything I learned along the way has prepared me for what owning your own business is like. because I don't have to, you don't necessarily have to go to class in college, right? You can be the kid that shows up for finals. But the self-discipline, that I got from managing time and homework and a job and class and all of that really prepared me for, running Rhinestone Lip Gloss now. Like, I don't necessarily have to be in the studio at 8 a.m, but I need to, So, you and I, like you said, you went the route where you didn't go to school or whatever, and you made it. And I went to the route where I really went to school, and and here we are on the same path,
Right.
So it's just crazy, I guess, how that works. So that's how I got from there to here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just sounds so easy to say, and so that's how it happened. but it's not that easy, and you and I both know that. But, I think that's what's really important is that, the message we're trying to give women through the Moxie Women's Network is, regardless what your path is, there's one common denominator if you want to be successful. If you want to advance in your career, if you want to start your own business, even if your own business is with a network marketing company. I mean, there are tons of women today who are finding self-employment through, network marketing companies. And I write about that in the book, and I talk about how that's a viable source to get started. But there's still one common denominator in any or all of those. And that common denominator is you got to get your Moxie on, because people are going to discourage you. People are going to tell you why it won't work. People are going to tell you that that's a stupid decision you've made. People are going to tell you that they don't like your stuff. People are going to duplicate what you do. Shall we go on with the list?
Right. You nailed it. Can you imagine? My parents were very conservative. You go to high school and you graduate, and you go to college and you graduate and you get a job and you do that, and then all of a sudden I say to them, hey, I know I just spent like over $80,000 over here, but I'm going to completely ignore all of that. And I'm going to glue rhinestones on stuff that I cannot guarantee people will continue to order. And by the way, I have no health insurance and I have no retirement. And what?
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds that, and all they said were, just be sure. They just said, be sure. And I thought, I'm as sure as I can be, and here we are. And I don't even want to call it luck, because I worked my nose off, but it worked. But you have to have that Moxie. You have to have that ambition and that drive. I don't care if you want to be an underwater basket weaver.
Right.
You have to want that, and I find myself when I get around people that don't have any Moxie or don't have any ambition, they're like a big cloud of yuck, I need that energy. I need to be around other women. And not once have I ever had to ask, do you have a college degree? Because it's never mattered. In fact, I was kind of surprised that you didn't, because you've done so well. And it's 10 years ago when I was in school, everybody kind of had, that's what you did. You went to college, right? Well, now everybody's got a 4-year degree, it seems like. So you're no longer sought after, because here's thousands of kids graduating every year and there's nowhere for them to go.
There's not. And so, when we talk about this whole success piece, and I have a friend who is a corporate trainer as well. I worked with her for many years, and I mentioned this quote in the book. She says, everybody talks about being stuck between a rock and a hard place, that you'll make a move when you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, that's a great motivator. I agree with that. I agree that when you're as low as you can get, whether it's in your life, your career, your relationships, whatever it is, that's probably when we'll stand up and say, okay, I have no place else to go. I've got to figure out how to get out of this. She said the challenge, the danger, is when you're stuck between a rock and a soft place, because you're comfortable, but it's not quite what you really wanted to be doing, but you're comfortable.
Right.
And so do I really want to rock the boat? But it's not really what I wanted to be doing. And it's just this constant
vicious cycle.
It's a vicious cycle. And I kind of hear you saying that that's sort of where you were at. You went to college, you pursued what you wanted to pursue, you had a good job, you were comfortable, but in the back of your mind was this,
something's not right.
Something's not right. I'm not
There's
being
more. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I don't even use, I mean, it's a fun novelty to walk into a Chinese restaurant and eavesdrop.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun
to
walk in and really just blow their minds and order in perfect Chinese. But because it's funny coming from a white girl.
Right.
But, and that's exactly it. I wasn't stuck between a rock and a hard place. I had other options. I was content where I was, I had everything I needed, but I wanted to travel with my husband. And I really, as silly as it sounds, I love making things shiny.
Yeah.
You know, and I was really good at Facebook, and I was really good at Instagram. And I thought, okay, how can I combine all of this into something viable? And the planets kind of lined up just enough to give me a stepping stone.
Right.
And my husband had said, he said, I'll give you 6 months. He said, after 6 months, if you can't make this work, you're going to have to go back to work.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, like,
that's
deal.
fair.
Well, after about a month of being at home and being able to work, you know, whenever I wanted, which doesn't mean to say not often, you know, but I could sleep till 10, then work from noon till midnight.
Yep.
If that's the way my brain decided to work that day. So after a few months of that, I'm like, I can't go back to a 9 to 5.
No, can't go back. It's hard. No. It's so hard. And I think about that often. You know, there are times, because I'm on the road a lot, and I don't mind that. You know, I'm single. I don't have children. I have the luxury to be on the road. It has been a wonderful thing for me. You know, I have trained and spoken in all 50 states, Puerto Rico, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. There are times every once in a while when I wake up and say, I don't know if I can do this again. Right. And whenever that happens, and we're being candid here today on this call, right? Whenever that happens, you know, I start perusing the Indeed.com jobs, and I go to LinkedIn and I look at jobs, and I look at what they pay, and then I look at the college requirements, and it takes me about 45 minutes to figure out that I make more financially working 10 days a month than most people make working 40 hours a week the entire month, you know.
Yeah.
And that I do have insurance because I'm able to pay for it, and I do have a nice car because my corporation pays for it. And again, the message here is not, hey, if whoever dies with the most money and the most toys wins. That's not my message. Right. My message is security.
Yes.
I mean, in this country, whether we like it or not, finances equal security, because when things go wrong, you have to be able to have the finances to cover it, pay for it, whatever. Earlier in the year, I was in Charlotte. After I moved to Kansas City, I had to go back to Charlotte, and I had a kidney stone attack. And, thank goodness I was off for the week.
Right.
I didn't have to worry about losing money on my job. I didn't have to worry about that. I just went to the hospital, had a couple of quick hits of morphine, and dealt with it, and then had the finances to pay for the deductibles and things without worrying. And so when I talk about money, for me, it's a security discussion. Mm-hmm. And when your husband told you you have 6 months to make this work, that's a security discussion. Right.
It was practicality. I mean, it's not fair for him to, work all the time so that I can play Barbies all day or whatever. I mean, that's not fair. But once, we were sure before I even left my big girl job, okay, there's definitely a demand for this. And, anybody that's worn big, heavy earrings knows how bad they suck. And once word got out that, hey, you can have these big, blingy, obnoxious earrings comfortably, and little girls, our little princesses can wear them, and this and that. It was like wildfire. I mean, it was the craziest. And it's funny because I have never spent a single dime on a Facebook ad or a boosted post or anything like that. Nope. And We're over 10,000 likes on Facebook and at 8,600 on Instagram, and it's all organic. Like that's, I didn't need a degree in social media marketing. None of the classes I took in college prepared me to own a business. I didn't take an accounting class. I didn't take a business class. None of that. The life skills that I learned in college prepared me.
Yes.
But had I not had the drive and the moxie to make it work, it wouldn't have mattered. A screwdriver works, but only if you pick it up and use it.
Right. Exactly. And I think that that's really what the Moxie Women's Network is about. That's my vision for it is, okay, let's get some women together who have made a successful swath in their life, a path in their life. And let's talk about what it took and how they did it. And let's share this with women, because there are a lot of women out there who would like to do something different, but maybe they're stuck between a rock and a soft place. Or there are women out there who would like to make a change, but they just don't even know where to begin. Or,
right.
Or I don't even know what you meant by organic on social media. And I'm
means they weren't paid for.
That's right. You and I know that. And so, one of our other team members, Lisa Landry, literally wrote the book on social media marketing. And so we have come together to be able to talk with women about ways to build maybe secondary incomes or full-time careers to promote within their career using their degrees. But what are you missing that's preventing you from advancing? And there are a lot of women in this world, and especially, in the industry we're in, that have a lot of beliefs that do not make you successful in a career. It's two different worlds. So when young women decide they want to join a network marketing company, I always think to myself, hey, that's awesome. I was in a network marketing company. They put 3 Mercedes-Benz in my driveway. I was successful with that company. But you know what? It still took Moxie. So right. What does that mean? And that's kind of what we want to talk to about with people.
I think everybody has, how do I want to say this? I think that everybody has it. The piece that's missing is the catalyst. Like for me, for whatever reason, and I suck at clothing. Like I am as far from a fashion girl. I'm the worst girl, and I'm so bad. So if you would have told me 3 years ago, hey, you're going to be an international jewelry designer, I would have told you that drugs are bad. But for whatever reason, when I just accidentally started blinging stuff, I realized that, oh my gosh, it's like coloring with shiny, so that being said, I've always had, this moxie in me or whatever, but the key was finding what lit it, what is the match that you're going to throw on the brush pile. Okay. You have your brush pile of moxie, but what is your match that's going to ignite it? And that's what I think people, and when you're busy with kids and a life and a husband and a career, there isn't. And I get where, I see that it's hard to find the time to find what sets your soul on fire. Like, I get that. That's the first battle.
Right.
Is figuring out, and I don't mean what you like to do. It has to be, you would rather do that than breathe. And once you find that, the sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit is exactly right.
My company's 2.5 years old, and it almost hurts my brain to think, where are we going to be in 5 years?
Right.
Like,
that's exactly right.
But you have to find the thing that you are absolutely obsessed over. Like, I set a timer on my phone so that I remember to leave the studio before 7 at night, so my husband doesn't have to eat dinner alone, because I absolutely lose track of time here. I love to work and to build and create and talk to my clients. I love all aspects of it. There's some aspects like I don't necessarily look forward to, like scanning my receipts for my accountant, but it's all part of it.
Yeah, it is.
So bad about that. But, you have to love all aspects of it. If I only loved building earrings, this wouldn't be successful.
No.
But I love working on Excel spreadsheets, looking at the numbers. How can we make this more affordable? How can we, you have to love all of the pieces of the pie.
Right. Right. It's true. And I think that again, having been self-employed for, 20 years now, because I wanted to make more than I could make as a woman without a degree.
Right.
That was my match, right? It's like, okay, I don't need to be stinking filthy rich, but I would like to be stinking filthy secure.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. And as a single woman, I knew that I was going to have to do something different to be able to afford myself and afford some opportunities that I wanted to engage in. And so that's what my catalyst was. And being able to help other people is a huge thing for me. I mean, everything I do for my job and my hobby is about helping women and helping young girls. And so, through the Moxie Women's Network, we are going to continue to do videos like this. We're going to offer advice. We're going to offer suggestions. We're going to find guests that we can bring on to share. One of the things that we're really, really talking about is rolling out some live conferences or seminars or meetings where women who are truly serious about igniting that moxie, can come and hear us, and we can get down to the nitty gritty, and we can show tips and suggestions, and we can tell people how to get from A to B and from B to C. Because we can sit on here and have this generic talk, and we can talk about the passion and the fuel, but there are steps. Right. And so, we want to share with people, how did you do that? How did you do that without a college degree? How did you leave a college degree and do that? And we want to be able to have some live gatherings with people where we can get some hands-on. And so I know that we've talked about this, and I know Lisa is in with us on this as well, but we'd like to hear from all of our followers. Is this something that you would like to see happen, that we would come and be able to have an event where you could come and really hear from people who have been in the trenches, who have started where you are, who are still growing, but let's get our moxie on, and I mean, don't you think that's a good idea?
I do, because it's emotionally rough to make that transition, because there's so many expectations, and I'm doing finger quotes with that because they're kind of BS. I started my company. I hear a lot, well, I don't have the money. Really? Because I started Rhinestone Lipgloss with $85 I had left over from a barrel race. Tell me again how you need money to start. And to this day, my company has no debt. We have no debt. We have no loans. None of it. I didn't have anybody to do it. There isn't anybody to bankroll me. And, we just moved into a new studio because we outgrew the house. And I looked at some places and I really liked them, but I couldn't afford them. And I told my husband, I said, if I am not busy enough to afford a studio, then I don't need one.
That's right.
And, but we are, so I have one.
There you are, yeah.
But yeah, and you get these excuses. Well, I've got bills to pay. Well, guess what? We've all got bills to pay.
Totally. Yeah.
It's not what you're doing from 9 to 5. It's what you're doing from 5 to 9 p.m. that's going to make the difference. And I'm not saying that you need to stay up till midnight or 3 a.m. Nope. Now, there are some days that you do, but this isn't slave labor, but you can get a whole bunch done effectively in 4 hours, 2 or 3 nights a week.
Well, and let's clarify that, 4 uninterrupted hours.
4 uninterrupted hours, yes.
And that's usually 5 to 9, or in my case, 9 to midnight, because, my elderly mother lives with me. She goes to bed. The dog goes down, as crazy as that sounds. Right. And we have this window of 4 solid hours, and so for me, it's 9 to midnight because I'm a night owl anyway.
Right. And I found myself, I would have to get up to be ready and stuff, and at work at 8, I was getting up at 6. Well, about 3 weeks before I finally left, I was getting up at 4 to buy myself 2 more hours. I was drinking. I kept Folgers. Like, I should own stock in that company.
Right.
I mean, it was to the point where my husband is like, you need, like, our coffee bill is ridiculous. You're one person. You do not need. But, that's what it took to make sure I had enough of a foundation so that when I did transition, it wouldn't crumble. But and that just comes back, if you don't want it bad enough to get up at 4 a.m. before you go to work, just hang it up.
Yeah. And, you know, when I was in network marketing, and a lot of network marketing trainers teach this, and I love this, you know, the philosophy was, in order to be financially successful, and what we mean by is financially independent, meaning you don't have to rely on a job, a just over broke. Okay. If you want to be financially independent, you have to be willing to do what you don't want to do for a short period of time, right, so that you can do what you want to do for the rest of your life. Right.
And that's exactly it. Did I want to get up at 4? Kinda, yeah, because I liked what I did, but at the same time I was tired.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, but now
I can get up at 8 if I want.
Man, when I came off on the road, you know, the rule around this house is don't wake me up till I'm awake.
Right. Yeah. And in fact, we came in off of I was on the road for an entire month, and we decided we left Rapid City, South Dakota at 8 a.m. and drove 17 hours straight home because we were just over it. We wanted to be home. I wanted to be home in my own house. And we got home at 4 a.m, and I sent all of my employees a text that said, unless my house is on fire, do not bother me until noon.
That's right.
I had 8 hours to sleep.
I think that's important, because I think part of business ownership is knowing when to set boundaries. And
it is. And I struggle with that right now. And I'm struggling. My husband's like, now that you have a studio, you're going to have to set some business hours. And I'm like, no, I can't. But he's right. Like that's probably one of my biggest struggles is balance and separation of, you know, because my personal life, I do barrel race, and I'm not a pageant queen. I wanted to be, but I'm too old. You know, my social life intertwines with, you know, when I go to a barrel race, half the time they come across, so instead of calling me by my name, it'll be some smart aleck going, and here's, you know, next up Rhinestone Lipgloss on her, you know, whatever. And I've become that identity, and I love it because my company means everything to me, but it's becoming harder and harder to separate.
Yeah. Which is a good thing, because it means success, right?
Yes. I am not complaining. I'm not complaining at all. But I think that if I were to go back and do it again, I would probably ride that separation out as long as I could.
Yeah.
Because now I find myself waking up in the middle of the night to check my phone. Well, that's not healthy.
Yeah. And, you know, I had to do that too. I had to shut the phone off. I remember calling my good friend Paul Reigelsberger one time when I owned an event staffing agency. And I said to him, why do these people keep calling me at 3 a.m? And he just
answered.
He said, because you answer the phone. And I went, I could have had a V8. And so I think a big part of business ownership is setting those boundaries and shutting the phone off. And you so love what you do, it's hard to do that. I know, right? And I want to make one other comment here to your comment about, you know, people saying, oh, I don't have enough money, or whatever the excuses are. And I chuckled when you said that, because I shared with you the other day that when I started my modeling agency years ago, I mean, this is like forever ago, I spent the last $120 I had to my name to rent this little hole-in-the-wall studio across the street from the post office so that I could start a career development center. It was in a college town, and I was going to help people write resumes and dress for success before they left to go pursue their jobs. And I was so excited, and I had these courses, and I was going to do these little workshops. And because I had worked in the modeling industry, I started a Introduction to Modeling 101 course, and that's the only course that ever sold. And it wasn't long before I got a call from some guy who worked for Jack's, department stores saying, hey, do you book models? I heard your ad on the radio. Do you book models? And my immediate answer was, yes, I sure do. How can I help you? When I hung up the phone, I went, oh, holy moly, now what am I going to do?
Right. And I don't book models. Yeah.
I've never booked models out of my agency. I've done it for other people, but not my own, because that was never really my goal. But, like Richard Branson says, if somebody offers you an outstanding opportunity, say yes and figure out how to do it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think that it's important, just like you said, to follow where your company leads you. Like Rhinestone Lipgloss, when I first started, we did the earrings, but I envisioned it as a little boutique. And, I would buy like little tops, and I tool leather as well. Not so much anymore because my clients want earrings. Right. If I would have made Rhinestone Lipgloss what I wanted it, I would still be at my corporate job, setting up at little booths on the weekends, you know, because I would have stifled my own growth because I didn't listen to what my clients wanted. My clients want earrings.
Right.
So that's what we do, you know, and we put stones on everything from, like I said, from a KitchenAid mixer. I did a KitchenAid mixer for a client. I've done Nike shoes. I've done baby pacifiers. But our bread and butter is earrings because that's what our clients want, you know. Absolutely. And your clients needed models booked, so that's what you figured out and did. And I think, you know, knowing that you're going to not end up where you think you are is important to know. I'm more successful after 2.5 years than I ever dreamed I would be, but not in the area that I thought I would be, if that makes sense.
Me, and same with me. Same with me.
Yeah, exactly. So just know that what you think your goal is, you might end up someplace 100 times better.
So yeah, that's exactly right.
Turn left, just go.
Well, in closing our call today, I want to ask our followers, you know, please leave a comment below. Mm-hmm. Let us know if you would be interested in attending live events. And I want to put this out there as well. We would love, if we're going to do live events, we would love to partner with some nonprofit organizations. Maybe it's women's organizations or sororities or you know, whatever nonprofit organization that you have, children's organizations, mm-hmm. to be able to donate part of the proceeds from the event to that charitable organization. Mm-hmm. So if you know of a charitable organization that's looking for some, for lack of a better term, fundraising types of events, we would love to partner with you and come to your city and promote an event and see if we can't raise some funds for you, because that way we can not only donate to a charitable organization, but we can be training women, young women and older women and excited women and not so sure women of all ages, colors, races, creeds. We don't care. I mean, success has no boundaries. And we can kill two birds with one stone, right? We can donate and we can train people, women at the same time. And so let us know if that's something you would like to do. And let us know if you have ideas about where we could do that, or organizations that might want to support that. And you know, Sarah, I'm just so glad that you've joined our team and that you took time today to talk with me. Is there any final thought that you want to share?
Just like, if you've got nothing else from the point of this discussion, is that it doesn't matter whether you have a degree or not. I mean, you've made it in life. I've made it in life. And neither one of us have been dependent on that piece of paper. Now I pay my housekeeper to dust the dang thing off. So don't stress. If you don't have a degree, or if you're not sure that traditional college is maybe a good fit for you, I think we're at a time in life where it's not as necessary as it once was.
Right. And I think and to tack onto that message, we in no way, shape, or form are trying to suggest that a college education is not important.
No, because I learned a lot from it, but
that is not the message. But there are hundreds of thousands of people out there that were like you, saying something's missing. And there are hundreds of thousands of people out there like me saying, oh, but I didn't get a degree and I can never be successful. And our message to you is, that's one of those myths we need to get rid of. Yeah,
that's just like, I don't have enough money to start my own business. Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
Starbucks every morning, put that money in the bank, you know. Yeah, it's just priority, you know. That piece of paper, if you want it bad enough, because my piece of paper has nothing to do with jewelry or running your own business or anything. It's like on the other side of the county, right? So yeah, don't discredit that.
Don't shortchange yourself. Let us know how we can help. Tune into the Moxie Women's Network a lot. We're going to be doing more and more training calls about specific subjects. And Sarah, thanks so much for joining us. Everybody, I'm going to be doing another call soon with our other team member, Lisa Ann Landry. You're going to love her. She is the queen of social media marketing. I mean, Sarah says she doesn't have an education in it, and she's done a really great job. Lisa Ann Landry can tell you the specifics about it, and that's really awesome. So until you hear from us again, we're wishing everybody great success. keep your eyes firmly focused on your goals, be laser beam focused on where you want to be, and you will find success. And until next time, see you later.
Thank you.
Bye.